Welcome back. We're back, boys and girls of all ages. Brotherhood of Bengal is back to talk about the offseason, where the Bengals rank. We're going to hit on quarterback and running back. We're going to revisit the 2023 draft, which is in prime focus now with Myles Murphy option year passed. We'll talk about that. Good move, bad move. We will give you the absolute authority on that and much more. All coming up next on the Brotherhood of the Bengal.
Brotherhood of the Bengal.
I saw Stevie Boy on this chilly fall-like football weather Wednesday.
It's awful, ain't it?
I hate it.
I hate it. I hate it. It's good to be here. Good to be back talking about our orange and black. It's going to be a fun episode. We're going to dive into some past draft and maybe talk a little bit about what's coming up. And hey, let's go. Let's go with it.
A little low-key draft. A couple low-key shows here. We were pretty amped here with the draft and stuff. I don't know if you feel the same way. It kind of always feels like not the same. It's not as good or as bad. But that, you get all amped for Christmas. It comes and it's over. And then you're like, now it's cold New Year's, right? Summer helps me with that. This isn't summer.
No.
I'm so used to warm weather. My body felt so good. I was so energetic.
Yeah.
And now this is fall.
Yeah.
It sucks. It does suck. So, we're going to hit on that 23 class. We're going to evaluate the quarterback and running back room, which I hate, of the Bengals. Talk about that, and that's where we'll start, Stevie Boy. So, Joe's making the circuits this offseason. I don't like it. I don't make a big deal out of it. He can do whatever he wants. He's a grown man. But ideally, for me, a quarterback's not at the Met Gala. Because I think anybody goes to that. I'm going to, wherever I view these people, if his family even, I rate you up here high, and then you go to something like that. Chinks away just a little bit, right? Because I hate that whole scene, right? But he can do whatever the hell he wants. Still a hell player. Still my favorite player. So he I don't know if you saw his interview or whatever. He seemed really, really pleased.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Florio and some of them say, you made it big when you're interviewed in Variety magazine, not sports. And I understand what he's saying, but today that's just not the case. There's so much crossover and everything, which I hate, right? There's nothing pure about anything, so they interview everything. So, but he was, the good news is I think he was being legitimate. He was happy with the offseason as a whole. Your thoughts on that? And I agree with him. I am too as a whole.
Well, if I was him, I would be too. I mean, the year before, they kept everybody that you wanted, that you specifically named. They kept all of them and went out and still got a few more players. Drafted some guys that we thought would help the team. We'll see how that goes this year because they're banking on them this year big time. And then you turn around this year with after you got injured, you not intentionally, but because that injury derailed the season and still went out and spent a lot of money. And let's be honest too, what they done really does kind of put them in a little bit of a bind for the next couple of years. It really does. Because when you start talking about franchise tagging, you start putting those for sure numbers out there, the 20, the 25, the 19 million, guaranteed franchise tags that they may or may not be able to do because they went out and signed these guys, especially Lawrence. Being able to make that trade, it's
a good bind.
It is. It is. It's a good bind, but that's what I'm saying. He needs to be happy. He needs to say, okay, this is what they've done. This is a win now. It's a win now, and that's what they've done this offseason. Joe should be like, okay, let's go win a title.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why it becomes ever more important, which is that's tough for the Bengals. Excuse me. A little choked up looking over my shoulder. We had a kid accident flying through here earlier, so it looks like everybody's okay. So, you think about it, like that's why the Bengals have to be proactive in signing players before you get to that franchise piece, and they've not been good at that. So you look at DJ Turner and Dax Hill right now. You better get these deals done now because if you go up to the deadline next year free agency, they hit the market, they're gone.
Yeah, they're gone.
You don't have a chance.
You might be able to get one, but there's no way you can get both of them. No. I mean, if Dax balls out, I mean, I'm telling you right now, with his versatility and he can play as a top 10, top 7 corner league, dude, he's going to make 22 to $25 million a year. Yeah. It's big.
And you look at it like he came out, Dax Hill did. DJ Turner's the better of the two. But Dax Hill came out and said he wants to be on the outside. You see that?
I've seen it.
And I agree with him. That's where the money's made, right? He's looking at it from that standpoint, but also I think he's just a better player out there. So,
and he also said he wants to do what's best for the team. Well, honestly, what I think's best for the team is for him to be outside. Just figure out nickel, because then if you move him to nickel, then you're moving him away from, I won't say his comfort zone, but where he shined.
Yeah.
Now you got a problem outside corner because you're starting either a rookie or someone. I mean, that's just not the way to do it.
Yeah, you got me all choked up. I think that's what they say about, they'll simply, you might have to take over a little bit, moving offensive lineman from left guard to right guard. Right. Act like it's no big deal. It is a big deal.
It is.
Your whole sense of everything you've ever done, right?
Yeah.
And swinging in from tackle into guard or whatever is a big deal. So, yeah, I think you create a lot of issues when you start rotating people around. My biggest concern now, of course, is still linebackers like everybody else and safety. We talked about that, but also offensive line depth, right? That's the one thing, I think, I don't know. I think the offensive line depth might be a bigger issue than linebacker, honestly. You never know. We'll find out. But I can't believe they didn't address that. But overall, I mean, this defense, you added 6 players that can help, right?
Yep.
And, a lot of starters there. So, let's start with running back. What I'll do, Stevie Boy, if I can get my voice back here, might have been a cigar ash down my throat or something. Trying to get the smoke towards you, maybe that's what I get.
Maybe.
Running back. So we'll talk about, I'll go through each team and we'll just rank them and talk about how the Bengals fare there. And then we'll talk about Chase Brown. We'll get to the 23 draft as well. So Baltimore, you got Derrick Henry. He's not young. Justice Hill, and then, a couple guys, they drafted a guy there. So you look to Cleveland, who evidently Deshaun Watson is the leader in the clubhouse. I don't know if that's all semantics, but they got Quinshon Judkins, who we both like. I like him a lot. He got hurt last year. You could see it. Dylan Sampson, who I like as a third down back, even maybe a little more than that, and then some depth. So they're not in a bad shape there. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers, who we think are going to have one of the worst years in a long time for them, I hope. Jaylen Warren. Rico Dowdle was a nice signing for them for Carolina. They drafted, Caleb Johnson. Then they've got Eli Heidenreich as a running back, but I think he'll be more of a slot guy. And then your and my Cincinnati Bengals, led by Chase Brown. The cops are getting excited. They're about to throw a parade for this episode. Chase Brown, P. Ryan is still with him. Taj Brooks, who we didn't get to see hardly any of it. Brightwell on down a couple. I'd like to see Taj get some carries there. So we'll start out of those 4. Which running back room do you like the best, my friend? And I'll throw my 2 cents in.
I think I like Cleveland's better.
Really?
Yeah. Cleveland is set up. If they had a quarterback, they could make some noise. I mean, really. But Cincinnati's a close second. I mean,
you got them over Henry, both teams?
You did say room.
I know.
But you did. So
you got to weight it so much to the starter. You have to.
Right. And the thing with Derek now is he has to hit a hole and get going. He's not going to hit that edge like he did 5 years ago. And we really don't know.
Lamar helps him too.
Sure. And we don't know what this year is going to entail. I mean, he may hit a cliff.
He's going to some point. Will,
but he's a big back. He's taken beating. He's had a lot of carries, dude.
Oh, my.
But, yeah, I think Cleveland, because I like Sampson. I think, I mean, P. Ryan, you got to kind of say the same thing. He's so solid. He's so good in pass protection, and he's got just enough wiggle. But how long is that wiggle going to hang around? You know what I mean? He's good out of the backfield. I get that. And then with Brooks, we just don't know because we didn't see him.
Like
so when you say when you talk about everybody, I think Cleveland's a little bit more ahead to me than
they've got a better 1-2 punch for sure. I think than probably anybody in it. And Pittsburgh, you never know. Warren's not a bad player.
Yeah, he's not.
And Rico, he played pretty well last year.
Sure.
Yeah, I think the Bengals are in good shape there. Obviously, Chase Brown, had a good year last year. they're not the best run blocking offensive line either, and they don't focus on it, right? Whereas Baltimore, that's all they focus on. It's all they can do, really. Henry's 32 this year. Yeah, I think I as a starter, if I'm just taking one, I think you have to take Henry still, I guess. And then I'd go Chase Brown, and then I'd go Judkins, and then the Pittsburgh guys.
Probably.
I think Judkins got a shot of being a beast, though. He was tough at Ohio State. And last year in that limited time until he got hurt, right? He was.
Oh, he was.
He was looking good.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. Let's look at then we'll get to quarterback here, and we know where we're going to go here. But let's talk about the Browns. And you look at the Jets. So we were talking about cap space the last episode. So the Bengals are like $37 million under going next year. The problem with that is that's all funny numbers because you got to look at the amount of players that are signed with that cap numbers. People get all excited. We've got, $100 million in cap. Yeah, but you got 18 players signed.
Right.
So, the Bengals only have like 28.
Right.
So it's going to be tricky.
It's going to be tricky.
It's going to be tricky. But you look at the Jets primarily, I'm telling you, if I'm a Jets fan, I work with a guy. I haven't got to talk to him yet. And he is a big Jets fan. He has been forever. I'd be excited, right? The Browns maybe, but then you got 3 first-round picks in what looks like one of the best drafts ever. Who knows? I don't mean just quarterback.
Right.
Receivers, I mean, it's loaded, and you're way under the cap.
Mm-hmm.
They got a shot at doing something, but you got to fix the quarterback similar to Cleveland.
Plus the draft they had this year.
And, really good. And so did the Browns. The Browns, quarterback, we'll start with them just because it's the easiest one to make fun of, and then we'll go to Baltimore. You got Deshaun Watson again, who's the leader in the clubhouse. Shadur's got to be like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I'm not a Shadur fan, but I think he gets a lot of grief. I honestly don't think he deserves it. Like, I think he did deserve it coming out of the draft because he was a diva like his dad.
Right.
But since then, I mean,
he hasn't kept his mouth shut, kind of did his job.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I think. And then, you got Dylan. They're not going to keep all these guys. You got Dylan Gabriel and you got Taylor Green. I think Green will make it. And I think, they wasted a pick on Gabriel.
Sure.
That's the problem when teams get a lot of picks or the Bengals like this year where they think
we laughed our ass off at that pick last year.
So they think they've got all this room, right? Or like the Bengals, we've got everything filled. Let's just take a few flyers. That's stupid. Like you make a better pick with somewhere else instead of Dylan Gabriel. Take Shadur. How much better is your team? Same with the Rams. Trying to win a Super Bowl. Why take a flyer? Teams just do it. But I think Taylor Green, you never know, man. I think they'll use him this year, not quarterback. He'll come in, trick packages. Monken's pretty creative, right? I kind of agree with you. I just can't imagine Watson ever. I guess you never know. I just can't imagine. If he comes back to even close to what he was, they might win 7-8 games.
I know, if not more.
Yeah.
With that defense.
That's scary. And,
especially at home.
Yeah. You got Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion. They drafted Fano.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll do some predictions later on. We'll get into the offseason, what we think. So that's their quarterback room. I'll go through them all, and then we'll match them up again. Baltimore, of course, Lamar Jackson, Tyler Huntley, hanging around forever. Skylar Thompson, who started some games. And they signed Diego Pavia. He's a different bird, man. He's got a whole lot of Manziel in him, and not by coincidence, that's his quote-unquote mentor, right?
Right.
I just can't see a guy that small. I mean, they're not out anything, right? I mean,
you're right.
There's no guaranteed money or anything there. But Lamar Jackson, new offensive coordinator, new everything there in Baltimore. How's that going to work? Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't, right?
Yeah.
I think Minter's a good hire. He reminds me a whole lot of McDonald in Seattle, and you can connect all the dots. His dad coached at UC. He's from this area. He played at Mount St. Joe's. But Declan Doyle as the offense coordinator, defense coordinator, Anthony Weaver's been around forever. You just never know, right? And then we go to Pittsburgh, and then we'll finish with Cincinnati. Pittsburgh, quarterback, disarray. Mason Rudolph, been around forever. Will Howard, Drew Aller, who I like Aller better than the other guys, third-round pick. And then your Cincinnati Bengals, it's hard to critique their quarterback room, but I will, Stevie Boy, but I'll let you go first. Of course, the Bengals have number 9. My opinion, the best quarterback, when healthy, the best quarterback in the entire league, not just the division. Joe Flacco they brought back, of course, who played well for him last year, and spot duty. Josh Johnson, who's been in the league longer than some of the referees, some of the commissioner, various owners.
Yeah.
Some people that are in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Sean Clifford, they're bringing him back for a camp arm. So what's your views on the quarterback in the AFC North?
Yeah, I think the Bengals got the edge on this pretty big. I'm with you. I wish they would have taking a flyer on a young kid and kind of let Joe let him see how Joe goes about his business. You know what I mean? Bring him in, let him kind of learn and have this young guy that if something did happen to Joe and then Flacco struggled, then you had another guy that you would say, okay, we don't know what we got here. Let's throw him out there and see what happens. Well, now you kind of know everything that you got. You know what I mean?
And preseason, it's just not.
You know what I mean? It's like, Josh Johnson. I mean, come on, Clifford, come on. I mean, but I think they've probably got the best 1-2 quarterback in football. But who really cares? Because we hope Joe Flacco never throws a pass, right? So
for the season to be successful, that's what's got to happen, right?
That's what's
just some blowouts, and he's coming in.
right, and then puts up another 21 or something. But no, I mean they're like I said, probably, I mean, best 1-2. I mean, $6 million to pay your backup quarterback that we hope
they better be the best 1-2.
Yeah, doesn't throw a pass.
That's a whole lot of money invested in that position, which makes sense in today's league. Yeah, I think to echo those sentiments, like I don't want to overstate or be hyperbole about this, but I think this quarterback class as a whole for the 2026 NFL draft was very weak, and we talked about that. So, but I think Aller and some of these guys in the later rounds, even Klubnik, you just never know. I think they both got a shot development to solid starters. So now it looks all different, right? Simpson out of the way. But I'll say this, at the back end, like where Taylor Green was picked and on, I don't think you'll find a quarterback class better in terms of just taking reaches. Like Sawyer Robertson was on the market as an undrafted free agent. Now, when they get to that point, you can't say, well, why didn't the Bengals get him? I'm sure they didn't. But they go where they want, right?
Right.
And nobody's going to go, if you think you can play, you're not going to go behind Flacco and Burrow. Right. But that's why I would have taken him in the 7th round, right? Like, he's got upside. He's 6'4", athletic. And some of those quarterbacks, you take them, and like I said before, if you develop him this preseason behind Joe, and he sees that and he shows some stuff in the preseason, you can get stuff out of him, right? Mm-hmm. You're not getting anything. I just don't understand bringing in guys that can't play. I get you don't have to teach them anything, and I'm sure that's part of it. You get into camp, you're not, in their mind, wasting time.
Sure.
Helping these two grow up so they can be your camp arm. Those two, Clifford and him, they know what they're doing.
But that is a quarterback coach's job, too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's actually two. There's a quarterback coach and a quarterback assistant. So you do got, what I mean? There's plenty of coaches and plenty of people in your ear to help with that. But, and then you got to kind of look at what they did draft in those rounds, too, and what they would have given up. And I said it, I don't think you're really on board with it, but from their 6th and 7th round picks, I really like. I think they're actually going to contribute some this year, especially Robinson, right?
Yeah, he might.
I really do. So if they would have took that quarterback flyer, then they're not getting him. So it is what it is, but still good quarterback room, in my opinion.
Yep. The best in the league, in the division, maybe the league.
I think the league.
And you think about it though, like, guys that develop as that 6th, 7th round players are typically, size is such a factor.
Sure.
On offensive line, defensive line.
Yeah.
You don't see a whole lot of steals there because of size and athleticism. You have to be strong in those positions, right? And technique and all that.
Smart, maybe. You know what I mean?
You got to be strong, right? So quarterbacks, though, sometimes you look at Purdy, Brady, on and on and on, right? Even if they just develop into a solid backup, if not a little more than that, in that range, the value's just you're talking 10x, right? Mm-hmm. Your fourth or 5th defensive tackle versus a quarterback that develops what you can get out of them, what they do for you. It's just it's no comparison. But I get what they're doing in a way. They do want the veterans,
especially if you want to win this year. Right?
Yeah, and Baltimore clearly the 2nd best quarterback room in the division because you're just there you're looking at starters. Lamar Jackson, what will he do? And then that's the big advantage, and that's why I think it's a 2-horse race, and so do the odds makers. Even if Rodgers returns, which I think he will,
I do too.
I just think he's playing this drama game, then they'll have some decisions to make there. But even if he does, he played okay at times, but I just don't see it. Not with that. They got big receivers, but they're not guys that just get open and are elite route runners, either one of them. And that's what he needs, right? Mm-hmm. He needs precise route runners. He'll make you, I don't know about now, but him and Favre made – pretty good receivers into really good receivers because their accuracy and their timing. Where Pittman and Metcalf, that's just not who they are, right?
Mhm.
And especially as Metcalf gets, I think both of them were bad trades for Pittsburgh. So that quarterback room's in disarray, and we talked about the Browns. So I think I'd take the Browns quarterback room over Pittsburgh right now without Rodgers. You?
Me
I
too.
would.
Me too.
I would.
Yeah, me too.
That's a big insult.
Yeah,
that is a
it
huge insult. So
Love
Pittsburgh,
Love it.
they seem to be on their way down. I think that's what's going to happen. Hopefully we are correct. And so let's look at the odds real quick, Stevie boy, and we're going to look at that draft. Mike Florio today, they showed the odds on Pro Football Talk. Sims on vacation, much needed one after all the hoopla he got involved in. I think it's probably by chance, but I'm sure he needs a breath of fresh air, right? So the NFL, let's look at the odds. So let's look at the division, the AFC North. The Baltimore Ravens are minus 120. The Bengals are plus 200, and then a huge gap. Steelers plus 550, and the Browns, they don't give them a chance at all, plus 1,800. I might look at the Browns over under, though. Look at that. So Florio said him and who was it? McCourty were talking about, and they both really like the Bengals. And Florio said if he's picking, that's who he's picking to win division. And that's not something you hear too often out of
it's not.
Mike Florio. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about before we come on air. I think because of the financials and how they're always called cheap and how they do business, and you brought up the fact that he is a lawyer, right? I think he's really in tune with Cincinnati. I think he wants there to be controversy. He wants there to be clicks, right?
Oh,
he loves it. So it keeps him really in tune with Cincinnati. And I think because of that, he knows what this roster actually is and what it could be. I mean, let's face it. If these two linebackers take a step this year and Myles takes a step, dude.
Oh, my.
I mean,
this could end up being one of the better defenses they've ever had. There's a lot of ifs there, but
yeah, I mean, but they're talking points in May that we can talk about, right? Because if that happens, then yes, what Florio said it can come to fruition. They can be, I mean, hell, I mean, they might end up being, top 5, top 6 team in the league if this defense can come around, this offense can stay explosive. Okay, let me rephrase that. If they can be like they was, but be a little bit more explosive, we can't keep doing the 12, the 15, the 18 play drive. All that you can't live and die like that, right? So if they can fix some of those things, be more explosive, do a little bit more with their offense, I 100% believe in what Florio said.
Yeah, you throw away last year, for example. Just throw it out for this example. So you go back to
you almost got to
24.
Yeah.
So they went 9-8 with one of the worst defenses in the history of the world.
Yes.
Can they duplicate that offense? I think so.
Oh, sure.
Their offensive line's better.
Yeah.
If they don't have an injury, right? I mean, you can always throw that in there. So the defense is vastly improved. I'll throw something out here before I get to the AFC conference odds. I don't want to go too crazy on this. I'm trying to think right on my brain here. But I believe what I'm about to say. Dexter Lawrence is the best defensive tackle the Bengals have had since Geno Atkins, clearly. And those two all the way back to Crumry. Yes.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree. Yeah, Crumry was a beast for your guy.
Yeah, he was. Big time. But Lawrence has a shot at being the best that's ever played that position for the Bengals.
Yes.
I don't think that's over exaggerated.
I don't either.
That tells you the impact.
Yes. And the fact that they went out and did it should show the locker room that they are all in. And I love smoke and ashes. It's the greatest thing that.
Especially when it's cool. Makes it feel like
football. It's awesome. Yeah. I love it.
Smoke is great. So yeah, it could be. I'm excited, man. I'm not going to wish away the summer, but we get to camp down there, seeing and Sexy Dexy what he brings to the locker room. He's a fun guy, but he's also pretty hard nosed, right? I mean, he'll get people's face and Cassius Atwell too once he gets his feet.
And I'll tell you this too: him and BJ are best friends.
Oh yeah.
I mean, BJ was at his birthday party.
Yep.
So I'm telling you, that makes a difference. That guy is going to be side by side in war in the trenches with your best friend. I promise you,
They're going to give it.
They're going to give it all for each other.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then the
Allen's a player
camaraderie,
too.
sure,
Allen's a player too.
the camaraderie that's going to happen. And then when they see that relationship, these young guys see that relationship, they'll probably build around that, right? And I'm telling you that, man, I hope what we're saying.
I hope so. I think,
Wouldn't it be nice to see a good defense for once?
Yeah. The thing is, though, Cook's a player. And I'd say Battle struggles, which I'm not a big Battle guy or the linebacker. Duggar's there.
Sure, he's there.
Duggar's a good player.
And versatile.
He's a good player. So the safety gives me less worry than the linebacker position, right? The linebacker, they just didn't really do anything. They believe in him. They believe in him. So we'll see. Well, hopefully it's not smoke and mirrors. So let's look at the AFC real quick, and then we'll talk about the draft of 2023. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The Bengals are 8th in the AFC. So Denver's ahead of them. Houston's ahead of them. The Patriots, Chargers, Chiefs, Ravens, and Bills on odds. I don't understand the Chiefs one. They're going back.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think they did enough.
No.
I don't see it. I think their offensive line's trash.
I think that's a name thing, right?
Yeah, I think their offensive line's trash. So the Chiefs are ahead of the Chargers, which I think the Chargers are a better football team with those 2 tackles healthy. And Denver, they lost them. I can maybe get that. That Chargers team's they're not a joke. And if New England can get the Vrabel stuff behind them, which they may not be able to, and then trade for A.J. Brown, I'd put New England ahead of everybody if they get A.J. Brown and Vrabel's there and all that jazz. But I think the Bengals are just good.
I'll say this about Denver. They lost some pieces, dude.
Big time.
You know what I mean?
The Bills are favored to win it. I just don't see that they did anything really. You know what I mean? We'll see. But we'll get to that, and we'll talk about bets now. We are going to have a bet episode. We're going to dissect it and just do a full bet episode, which we love. All right, let's look at that 23 draft. So the Bengals in 2023, I'll give you the summation of who they took, and we're going to, that draft gets a lot of criticism, and, rightfully so to a degree, right? So they took Myles Murphy, number 28 overall, right? Man, it's just been just one big disappointment, right? Sure, he had a couple good games last year, but when you're picking a guy in the first round and you're in year, 3, 4, 5, this is his 3rd year, and you're excited because he played a few games at the end against horrible teams, not good. So they did not pick up the 5th-year option on Murphy, as we predicted and agreed. So if he plays his ass off, unlikely, because I just don't think he's going to get the snaps to have big sack totals. Even if he does emerge, you got Mafe, Stewart, and Howe. I just don't. If he gets 7 or 8 sacks, I'd be shocked, right? Shocked. But then DJ Turner in the 2nd round, Jordan Battle in the 3rd, Charlie Jones in the 4th, Chase Brown in the 5th, Yoshi 6th, Brad Robbins in the 6th as well. And then DJ Ivy, Brad Robbins, that was we saw some meltdowns there, didn't he, in person? We're on the sideline. So, all right, so we'll get into Murphy, and I'll tell you a couple things here. So you got so you're going to, when you evaluate drafts looking back, people say, if you just say it in a vacuum, how did this team pick this player? Okay, all right. But you got to look, sometimes the draft, there's just not anybody there. I mean, you should go another position in that situation. But sometimes you get in the draft, man, there's just not that many good players. You think there are right now. Like everybody loves this past draft that just ended. 4 years from now, they're not going to, all those players, right? That's just the reality of it. All the hype and all the pomp and circumstances. So the Tua from the Chargers, you saw his numbers this past year, right? He led the nation in sacks. Chargers got him, 20-some picks after Murphy. Oh, my gosh, dude. Let me look his numbers up again. You know what I'm saying? Like, So that's where the evaluation comes in, right? You're listening to everybody else. So he's 6'3", 266. He's a borderline nose tackle. You got him listed as everywhere. So in 3 years, he's had 26 sacks. All right, 8.5 and 24 and 13 last year. Could have had him.
Yeah.
You took Murphy. That's where the evaluation comes in, right? Kobe Turner. These aren't household names for the Rams. He's a nice player. He had 9 sacks his rookie year, 8 sacks 2 years ago, 7 sacks. How would that look?
Right.
You missed him. And look, none of these guys are going to have the quote-unquote, he's more of a nose tackle. But what have you tried to fill?
Nose tackle. And
he's right there for you. And picking him at where Murphy was at makes sense, right? Like Yaya Diaby, right? We've seen him in person, right? Tampa Bay. Watched him a lot of games on TV. 7.5 sacks as rookie, 4.5, 7 last year. Man. And, he's 6'4", 270. He's not going to – he doesn't look the part necessarily. A little older, didn't look the part like Murphy. But that's how you evaluate draft classes. So were they there? Yeah. They just didn't – they took the wrong one.
Yep.
Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. He's still young, but his productivity hasn't been there. A little bit of that is their fault because they do this draft for the future kind of ordeal. They still had Sam. So his playing time was just, the snaps, it just wasn't there, right? So the only time that he was able to really get better was at practice. And I mean, let's be honest, there's nothing better than getting better than playing in a game, right?
Yeah.
You getting true snaps, going against different competition. But with all that being said, all them players that you named, that they were there, they could have taken them. But hindsight's 2020. I mean, we'll see how this year goes. I hope he balls out. I really do. The one thing is with him he played on that left side a lot because of Trey and because of Osai. He played on that left side a lot. I'm going to guess he's going to play on that left side a lot this year. And between Mafe and Howe and those guys, I think there'll be more of a rotation on that right side, move Stewart inside. I'm not sure exactly how they'll do it, but we also seen Stewart play a lot on the right side when he played last year. On the left side. So I don't know. If he gets 60% of the snaps, he might get six sacks.
Yeah.
I think the pressures is what is going to be the big ordeal, right? Like, I mean, can you just get there? You know what I mean? Because if this interior pass rush can get there, it'll make him no double teams, not as much chipping, which side will you chip? You know what I mean? So
you may not have to. That's it.
And you may not, but let's hope.
Yeah, you hope it.
That somewhere along the line that you can keep that running back in there to chip, and let some of these interior guys eat, because
I like Shamar better than him. I like Mafe.
I do too.
I think he's the third best. How we'll see. But,
yeah.
I
think in run support,
he's solid.
He's solid run defender.
Mm-hmm.
And he did have a pretty decent year last year, mainly because that last half, and again, you can factor in competition and all that kind of stuff. But if anything, maybe that gave him confidence, right?
Hope so.
That he can come into this year with what he did the last 7 or 8 games and come in, and be a ball of fire and get after the quarterback.
Yeah, you look at it like it's a tough one because you think about it. He's when I evaluated him, I told you about the Facebook memory. I don't want to regurgitate stuff, but what I saw is exactly what he is.
Mm-hmm.
He'll seal the edge here and there, just no explosive, no hands. There's just nothing that stood out by him other than he kind of looked the part, right? But he didn't play it in college or anything else. But now I'm going to be fair here, right? So a lot of people bang on this draft still. The thing is, though, I think if you're smart, like I don't want to over exaggerate it, but I think if you're a smart GM, you should hit on 4 or 5 picks in most years, and none of them do because they take flyers.
Mm-hmm.
They go crazy and just do stupid stuff and take, this guy could be great 5 years from now. Now that I got my guard who I know I can rely on, I'm going to take this, receiver in the 4th round that nobody would have drafted like this year. If you're just smart, you can get guys. And you can see they're playing in that draft, right? So 2nd round, DJ Turner off to a very slow start. And, I still don't know that he's lived up to that 2nd round. He probably has now because he played so well last year. But his first 2 years, that was a bad pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. They're not getting guys that are ready to play because they're so traits driven and all that other nonsense. They forget the football piece, and you're trying to win a championship, right? Mm-hmm. You put in a bunch of guys like last year with the linebackers that aren't ready instead of drafting guys that on tape can play, but they're not track athletes, right? That's what they do time and time again. Now, Battle's kind of the opposite. He's not a track athlete. 3rd round. So if he is a starting level safety in the 3rd round, it's a good pick. Still up in the air, right? Charlie Jones in the 4th round, I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to go hindsight. I thought it was a good pick at the time. It has not paid off at all. I thought he'd be a really good slot receiver for him. The way he moved in college, punt return, all that's just an accessory. He's not been worth it. Chase Brown, the 5th round, is a heck of a pick. Let's be fair to him. So right now, DJ Turner's a pretty darn good pick. Eventually, Chase Brown is a pretty good pick if they gave him the carries right out of the gate. Yoshi in the 6th round, I guess you could say in the 6th round it's been okay. But another thing of that is when you evaluate, he's been a good pick for the 6th round, in part because your GM didn't do a good job of getting a slot receiver. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's playing with T and Chase. He's not as good as he should be. If you put an adequate receiver in there, like Wayne Del Rey or whoever, right, in the slot, they're putting up big numbers and playing more consistently. Robbins is a bad pick. Like I said about the 7th round many times. If Ivy's just there.
But to be fair, we both like Charlie. We thought he was going to be that slot guy. So then they picked Andre later on, thinking he's an outside guy to back up. So I kind of get it because they're two totally different positions. And Andre has played a lot of slot as he's not a slot receiver.
No, he's not.
He is not a slot receiver, and he probably played. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I'm going to say 30% of his snaps have been at slot, and he's not at slot. And actually, they probably would have been more than that if they wouldn't move Chase around so much. They moved, Chase around so much. Shit, hell, he's 30% or more, on the inside. So, we talked about it a little before before we come on air too. Pretty good draft, really. You know what I mean? Overall, pretty good. I mean, you've got 4 starters. We don't count Jordan Battle, but he is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean.
It is now, but it wasn't when you needed it.
No.
That's the thing, right? You needed it. You needed it year 1 and year 2.
Right.
And you took a bunch of projects, and that's great. You mold all those projects in year 4 and 5.
But what's that do?
You're closing that window big time.
That window closes, and then because you don't get them on the field to your 2nd, 3rd year, you don't know what you got your 4th year. Yeah. So you don't know whether to give that 5th year option to Murphy or not because he didn't get the snap. You ain't seen him enough. Yeah. So it really puts you behind the 8 ball on a lot of different things when it comes to these players.
So they, like you said, though, they took Charlie Jones. They took him over to Mario Douglas, Yoshi, and Douglas has had.
I probably would have too.
He's had 62 more catches, 600 some more yards. Right? It's
just
hindsight,
too. Yeah. I really liked Charlie. I really did.
No, Yoshi. I mean, he was over. Yoshi over him.
Yoshi. I know. I do.
They thought he was just going to be, like you said, an outside guy. Yeah. It's tough, man. It's just Sean Clifford, ironically, was drafted in the 5th round in that year, so they got him too now.
Yeah.
You look at it, like I said before, it's tough to evaluate it, but, most of these guys, when you look at these drafts, even that's not that long ago. And look, the big whiff there is the same whiff that everyone else made. In the 5th round, who was it they took in the 5th round, the Bengals you got in front of you there? I forgot. Was that the punter or was he 6th round?
He was 6th round. 5th round was Chase Brown.
So it's a good pick, but who they took him over? Puka.
Yeah.
So they all look bad, the teams do. You look at all these receivers.
But
numbers,
would Puka be who he is with Chase and T? I'm not.
No.
You see what I'm saying? So
who knows? And Parker Washington went. He's a nice little player. Keyshawn Butte, right, the young receiver. So overall, like you said, it's formulating into a pretty good draft, but it's too late.
Let's not forget about DJ. Because those last 10 games or so last year, he played well, and basically he played that Flowers position. They just put him on tight ends and said, go guard him, and did pretty good. After that Bears game, that was when it's like, we gotta do something. You know what I mean? Because this ain't working with a tight end.
Bad.
It was bad.
Historically bad.
Yes.
Historically bad. So, there's some good players in that draft as you look through it. But, a lot of them are just falling into later rounds, right? It's just a crazy draft. The reason we bring up this draft because it's, that option year, and there's not too many guys that are getting it, right? Just a crazy, crazy draft.
And maybe this is something they'll do like next year we'll do 24.
Yep. You look at it and, Joey Porter Jr. went. I wanted him and Sam Laporta over Murphy. Porter, I don't know. He's not the player I thought he was going to be. I mean, he's solid. He's solid.
I get it.
I can't. And Laporta, though, he's a really good tight end, right? He's been injured a lot, 20 touchdowns. So that'd been the pick I would have went Porter. I even would have went Michael Mayer, who has not developed. Heard some inside story.
But maybe with Joe Burrow, he would have.
It wouldn't have, because did I tell you the inside story I heard on that dude? It's not good. I'm not going to say it on here. It's not good, man. And
I think you may have.
Yeah, these are people that know it's not good. It was between his
ears.
It's been
a while, but
between his ears off the field. That's all I'm saying about it, but not good. And that's the hang up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also,
and maybe they knew that.
But Reed went, look at that. In the second round, Reed went, the receiver Green Bay. Woo!
Yeah.
That's a big whiff. So you took him in the first round. They would have got grief. Well, you need another receiver, right? And they couldn't have really the way they were structured. But oh my, right? That's he's 1,800 yards, 15 touchdowns. But there's just a lot of whiffs there, right? And again, there's only so many players that are good.
Yeah.
Everybody comes into these drafts, and it's hard not to, because then you're only comparing. That's the tough part when you're evaluating. I did it more this year than I did in the past. Like, you're just evaluating that draft against each other. Yeah, and I'm not. They all are. Really, you got to draft them against other drafts and what they look like against NFL players, and you're trying to morph or blend that all together, and it's tough to do, man. It's really tough to do. If you look at Mingo for Carolina, it goes 39, 600 career yards. Got traded to Cowboys. Did they cut him? I think maybe. And just and everybody loved him. Keon White's kind of been like Myles Murphy, right? He was probably a little better, but he hasn't done much either. There's just name after name. Charbonnet's ran the ball pretty well there, but there's Rashee Rice, who's nothing but trouble.
Yeah.
There's just not a whole lot of talent in that draft. I think this past draft they wanted to hammer it. I think that draft's way better than this draft.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even close, right? So strange times. Just to refresh, Bryce Young went number 1.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have drafted him in the first round, period. C.J. Stroud, number 2. You can't say they lucked out. They planned it. So they took Stroud and Will Anderson. So the Stroud pick doesn't look as bad. And he's not bad, right? But Will Anderson that's a high-level player.
Mm-hmm.
High-level player, just got paid. But Anthony Richardson, 4th. Witherspoon. Then Paris Johnson, Tyree Wilson, who I thought would be good, hasn't panned out.
And Bijan.
And Will McDonald.
Jalen Carter.
Yeah, Jalen Carter. But Will McDonald at 15 to the Jets has been more productive than what Carter was above him. And then, of course, Jahmyr Gibbs, right? That's the comparison. This year you heard a lot about him. In his 3 years, 3,580 yards rushing, 39 touchdowns, 1,400 yards receiving, and 10 touchdowns receiving. And then they would say, oh, you can't take a back that high. Who would you really have now on this list?
Yeah.
Maybe 1 or 2, maybe 2 to 3 players more than him.
Mm-hmm.
So if you redid this draft, at worst, he's the 4th pick. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think, it could look that way this year with Love.
Yeah.
And then another guy, Kansas has Jackson Smith and Jigba went 20th, 3,500 yards, 20 touchdowns, because he wasn't explosive enough.
Yeah.
You see where the traits get you?
Mm-hmm.
And it's Zay Flowers has been solid for them. Jordan Addison's been solid. Dalton Kincaid's been a good player. So it wasn't a bad first round there, right? But it just kept going down. Christian Gonzalez for the Patriots, real nice pick at 17th. So interesting. And then getting at there, Jack Campbell with the Detroit Lions. They did not offer the option for him. That's a darn good linebacker.
I know.
The Bengals have been better picking him, right?
Sure.
But you got to look at the roster then. That all matters. You're not just taking players.
You got Pratt and you got Wilson.
Yeah, you didn't think they were going to fall off that quick. I didn't, right? Did you?
Right. No, I didn't.
Yeah, so that's where we're at. Kind of interesting draft looking back at it. We'll do some of these things from time to time, like you said, every option year. We're going to get into players. There's still going to be players on the move, maybe some cut candidates. We'll try to get back. I got to travel a couple weeks. We'll get some more in there. We'll look at potential cuts, potential trades. Where will Anthony Richardson? He's still out there. I wouldn't trade for him if I'm the Bengals or anybody else. The market's not going to be high on him. We'll go over that. We'll do a full throttle bet episode. You in, Stevie boy?
Sure.
Jot down about 10 bets we like each for the season. Maybe even college too, right? There's some college in there. College ranks are going to be really interesting with quarterback dynamic. I don't have his name in front of me. Have you read about the quarterbacks going to Oklahoma State?
No.
I'll look him up real quick. So I'll tell you the story. So there's a guy named Jeff Christensen. He played in the NFL. I don't know if he played in the strike season. No, he played in the mid-'80s. So he was on the Browns, I think, behind Gary Danielson, who everybody knows is a broadcaster, and Bernie Kosar. So he's schooled he coached Mahomes a little bit, Josh Allen a little bit. He would get mad at me saying a little. He did coach them. Let me back up. He's coached some pretty big name quarterbacks as a quarterback coach, right? And that's what he does. So he doesn't just do the big name guys like you hear Palmer and all those guys do. He does a lot of develop into, D2, D1 guys. And so I guess his story is true. So the Oklahoma State coach is coming from North Texas. I'll keep this brief. He won a lot of football games. Their receiver and this quarterback I'm getting ready to mention lit it up. So they go to Oklahoma State. And they go to Oklahoma State, and he starts talking about this quarterback. His name is Drew Mestemaker. Watch him play. Mestemaker. So I've watched a lot of him. They're saying he's a first-round pick now. I've seen him mocked in the top 10 to Pittsburgh even. I was like, damn. I didn't have him there and then, but you never know. But his numbers last year were off the charts. So Oklahoma State had one win. You should know because you bet on them. You thought they were going to be good. Boy, were you wrong. Mike Gundy. I'm a man. He's a man on the street. So he's gone. So Eric Morris, according to Morris, the coach at Oklahoma State, I think it's Christensen called him, said, I got a quarterback for you. Come look at this guy. I think this story is true. And he said, okay, tell me about it. And he goes, well, there's not much to tell. I'm weaving in some stuff. He goes, well, he's never started before, just like high school. He said, what are you doing, Jeff? And he goes there and watches him throw. He's like, oh, my gosh. So he just worked with Christensen and just kept working and became a quarterback. And you watch him play. He's playing in the NFL if he doesn't get hurt. He is an NFL quarterback. Think of how that turned.
Right.
And if Christensen, he would have wound up somewhere maybe. But Christensen did all that. I've had Jeff Christensen on podcast at least 3 times. So we'll try. When we get time, I'll call him up and see if he'll come on with us. And he'll go on and on about quarterbacks, but it's fascinating. He'll talk about footwork and what he looks at a quarterback. Totally different than what you're going to hear probably from me and even certainly me. What he talks about footwork, what he looks for, how he develops them. So Drew Mestemaker, if you're a draft fan, I'll get Christensen on and do my best too. I still got his number somewhere. And that would be cool. So Oklahoma State fans are pretty excited. So kind of cool story, right? So as we weave in, that draft is already getting attention. Teams will tank this year, mark it down. So Miami, the Jets, and a couple of teams, Arizona, they've got cap space galore and draft picks. All right, Steve, boy, you got anything else you want to add, my friend?
No. Let's
wrap this bad boy up. Good episode.
Yep.
Excited for the year. We'll just do a slow build into the training camp as we talk about what we're doing. We'll do positional values, betting, and all that stuff, and just a slow build, a crescendo into June, July. We'll be there at training camp at least once, maybe twice.
I believe rookies report Friday next week. Well, I don't know if the big 3 will be there, but they report next week.
Hopefully no drama like last year.
Yeah, but we'll at least see the rookies this coming Friday or this Friday.
Yeah, I'm kind of cool.
Yeah, so guys, be good, be careful, peace out. Also, traffic, stay to the right.
We out.